Right on.
All right, we're right back with Second City Sports Zoom style. And look, unfortunately, Sid, we're still working on getting Sid back. But, for now, I'm Lakeena McGee. You follow me at Lakeena McGee on the Twitter and at Lakeena_McGee on the IG. You can follow this show on War Media at War Media, WARR Media. You can, watch our show and listen to our show on Anchor, Spotify, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, we're on YouTube. So, all of us, all the shows in the scope with our buddy Josh Hicks and so much more. And we're right back with our buddy here, Big Dave Watson, for BAWL On and BAWL On Bulls podcast. You can also watch him on Hot Mick, with our buddy Matt Peck and John Sabine. And as we try to establish connection with our buddy Sid here. And Sid?
Hello. Can you guys see and hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hear you, sir.
Yes, we can.
Yeah. I had to do it from my cell phone. I don't know what's going on with my laptop. It works just fine, but for some reason it's been crazy today.
That's okay though. Well, look, you're here now, and we're gonna talking some more NBA. So, what was your favorite trade, Sid?
I like the trade that the Orlando Magic made with the Denver Nuggets, acquiring Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon, we all know that he's a high flyer, but he can shoot the ball as well, and he can give some size on the defensive end for Denver with the teams they have to go up against with Utah and the Lakers and the Clippers as well with PG and Kawhi Leonard. So Aaron Gordon gives them some size defensively, but he's Denver's the third option on the offensive end with Nikola Jokic, who's an MVP candidate, along with my guy Jamal Murray. So I like the moves that Denver made yesterday.
Was there a trade that kind of, you were like, really? Or kind of, scratched your head?
Be honest with you, the Lakers not making a move for Kyle Lowry. I can understand them not giving up Horton Tucker, but you're in a win now mode, and LeBron James is getting older, and this is the second time in 3 years since he's been in LA that he's been injured. So Anthony Davis is also down with an injury as well with that Achilles. So if you're the Lakers, you had to have made a move yesterday. Forget about the future. The future was 5-6 years ago. You had Kuzma, D'Angelo Russell, and Lonzo Ball, and those guys. Most of those guys are gone now. So for the Lakers, the future is now trying to win as many championships as possible before LeBron decides to hang him up.
Now what about the Bulls? How do you think this new Bulls is going to look in the East?
You know what? I as we talked earlier, I like this roster for the Bulls. Of course, as we said before at the top of the show, the Bulls are not done yet, but they have a better chance of making the playoffs now than they did on Wednesday when they left the floor being embarrassed at home by the Cleveland Cavaliers and embarrassed by the Utah Jazz on Monday night. So the Bulls have a better chance of making the playoffs. This team is not done yet, but they have a better chance, as we also talked about earlier. It gives the Bulls another scoring option offensively. Zach LaVine does not have to carry the load anymore.
It'll be interesting to see how this Bulls team do against, the Spurs. The Spurs kind of have like a newish look to them. So I'm looking forward to see how they look. I mean, not Zach not having to be sort of like the facilitator all the time. You got Vucevic there who is a little bit older, who knows how to do all that. He can play, pit and pop. He can, play on the inside and the outside. So I'm looking forward to see how this new look Bulls team, they look. I mean, look, even if they don't finish, get out of the playoffs, there's definitely a foundation there that AK and Eversley are setting, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited to watch Bulls basketball again because I was getting kind of discouraged this last few weeks. I mean, especially right guys, especially them losing to the Cavs, who didn't have Sexton, who I think Dellavedova didn't play either. So I'm like, oh God, we will. I saw Matt. Matt was about to go crazy, and even Dave's usually like the most optimistic person you'll ever meet. He was ejected too.
It broke me, man. When the moment I saw Wendell fall on his face trying to lay up a ball wide open, I cackled. And this is when I knew I was broken, because I realized I sounded like the Joker. Like I sounded like a supervillain, because I just broke. I was broken. I don't know if you've seen the Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, but that scene when he's on the train and he's just cackling, laughing. That was me. That was me. I was just cackling, laughing, man. And I was like, yeah, I'm broken. I've lost it. They really broke me on that one. I'm just so glad AK heard me and healed me. And I feel so much better. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Okay, so what do you guys want to do? This? You want to do like the NBA matches coming up this weekend, Sid?
Yeah, you have to, because I don't have the info in front of me. So you have to update us on what's taking place this weekend.
Okay, so we'll start on today, Saturday. Of course, the Bulls in San Antonio, the new look Bulls in San Antonio. We'll see how they look. New York and Milwaukee at 7:00. That should be a good one, right, guys? I mean, Julius Randle has been balling like crazy. So I'm looking forward to see how they look. You got Dallas and New Orleans. John, I'm sure John has his game circled. Right? Dallas and Luka versus Zion. I mean, that should be a lot of fun at 8:00.
Yeah, true indeed. Yeah, he'll definitely be watching both. Like, for sure about that. He'll definitely be watching both, man. But you hit it on about those Knicks. Like, the Knicks in Milwaukee, like, it's gonna be a tough game. Like, if you play the Knicks, and we all know this, from watching, Thibs. When you play a Thibs team, it's not going to be fun. Yeah. Like, it's going to be a drag for the opposing team because he'll be high defense and low offense, and you'll force yourself into playing their style because you'll try to run away from the Knicks, and this has always been Thibs' style. You can try to run away from his team, go up 14, 15 points. Yep. But the game is never over, ever, because they go so slow and it's so methodical that when the fourth quarter comes around, and after you taking that pounding for 3 quarters, after that fourth quarter comes around and those stars start to show up, then it becomes a closer game. And we saw it just recently against Washington. Yeah. It just did it yesterday against the Washington Wizards, who are about 17 and erased it in 1 quarter, just by being tough with those guys. So, yeah, it should be interesting, man, how they play Giannis. And because, Milwaukee can score. That's what they do. They can definitely score. So it's going to be interesting watching that for sure.
Another good one here coming up on Saturday, tonight, I should say, Memphis and Utah. That should be an interesting one too.
John Moran versus Donovan Mitchell. That should be a fun one.
A whole lot of fun. Philly and the Clippers. That's the NBA TV game at 9:00.
Okay, we'll see if Rondo get in there.
Yeah.
Got rid of Austin Rivers. I'm sure he feels some kind of way. His dad keep kicking him off the team. So he feels some kind of way. Like, dang, man, come on. Just because I asked for seconds, like, this how you doing me?
Right. Oh, right. I mean, my goodness. We're going into Sunday. We got 4 games. I guess you could probably say Portland and Toronto. I mean, we'll see how Norman Powell looks over there in Portland and. Facing his old team. And look, Kyle Lowry, it's going to be interesting to see how he plays because he knows that, he knows they've been trying to trade him. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds.
Very true.
Another good one here, Orlando and Los Angeles, the Lakers. I mean, the Lakers again lost, a couple of nights ago. I'm a little worried though, because, they couldn't get Lowry and, we'll see where Drummond and all, LaMarcus always decide to go, but I'm a little worried about the Lakers.
Yeah, the Lakers have a whole new squad, as we mentioned before, with the injuries to LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Orlando has a new squad, and so you don't know what's going to happen with them. But if you're the Lakers, even though you have the better team on paper, these are the games that you have to win, because if you don't, you could quickly slide out of the playoff spot, and you'll be pressured to rush back James and Anthony Davis. You definitely don't want to do that.
That's a great point. Absolutely true.
All right, going to Monday, you got New Orleans and Boston. I hope Boston can get it together, guys, because they're going back to those bad habits.
Yeah. I don't know what Boston is right now. Like, they're very confusing. Like, I really don't know who they are and what they are. Like, they have all this talent and all these guys on the team, but I don't know. I think it's time to start looking. If they don't make the playoffs and they come in at a low C, it's really going to be time to start looking at Brad Stevens and about what he's doing with that team. And, how far is he the right coach for them or not? Like, because this is honestly, it shouldn't be this bad for a team that was, competing, for a finals like the past 2 seasons. Like, that's a heck of a fall off, and we all know how good Jaylen Brown is, and you know the rest of that crew, man. And yeah, it's really shocking that it's like this, but maybe Luke Cornett can help them out.
Oh my gosh! Oh, okay. A good one here. They're finding a lot of tech hires. Miami Heat, the new Miami Heat. Against New York, that should be a fun one.
Yeah, Miami with all those new parts now. Then the front runners to sign LaMarcus Aldridge off the scrap heap as soon as he works out a buyout situation with the Spurs. They also picked up Victor Oladipo on another score to help out with Jimmy Butler. So Miami, they're not the same team as they were a year ago, but they're just like the Chicago Bulls. They're much better than they were the day before. So it's going to be interesting.
Okay. Probably, of course, the Bulls will, the new look Bulls taking on Golden State. No, we don't worry about whether or not Steph will be able to play, but that should be a fun one here. And hopefully, I have a little more confidence now with this, this new look team.
Yeah, you see that joy on your face now. Like you see how different you act. When you see it. You see it. You see it.
You know I see it. Yep.
It's a little different.
It's amazing. No, go ahead, Sid. I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying, as far as the Bulls-Warriors game, of course, the Bulls have revenge on their mind from early in the season where they gave their game away at the UC in the last few minutes. So payback's in order. And plus, we have a better roster now. So it doesn't guarantee you a win, but it guarantees you a better chance to win the game.
Oh, that's true.
And also to the nightcap here, you got Milwaukee and the Clippers. That should be very interesting. You got Rondo playing against his old. This should be very interesting, though. I mean, Giannis versus Kawhi. I mean, perhaps maybe a preview of the finals. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, on paper, you would think these are the teams that could be, in the finals. If something happens to the Nets or the Lakers or something like that, you're like, or even Philly, right. Yeah, you can see Milwaukee being that team that gets there. Yeah. And the Clippers, were everybody's favorite last year and they disappointed. So like you said, getting Rondo now, hopefully, they look better and more competitive as a team. So yeah, you're right. It should be a very good matchup.
And also too, these two teams played early in the season in Milwaukee. It was a competitive game. The Bucks pulled it out late, but for Milwaukee, as I wanted to mention earlier, Lakeena, that they picked up PJ Tucker recently from the Houston Rockets. As we all saw the last couple years in the playoffs, the Bucks lack toughness. Now you have Bobby Portis, former Chicago Bull, and now you have Tucker. Let's see if those two can work out, especially come playoff time, because that's what you need during the playoffs when the game slows down. It's all about matchups and adjustments.
What did they say? Whatever I play.
Exactly.
It got to be funky.
Okay. Come on with it. Come on with it, Sid. Come on with it.
Oh, my gosh.
Come on, Sid.
All right. Oh, my gosh. Okay, now, all right, we're going to take a time out here, take a little breather for a second, but, coming.
Already?
I know, right? But, look, just a few minutes. Well, look, we'll be back in a few minutes. We got, the Bears shore up their backfield, and Eloy's going to be gone for some months. Oh,
no.
Eloy the DH. That's all that
Yes.
Eloy the DH. That's what I've been saying. But also, too, some big things happening in the NFL. A couple of blockbuster trades just came down the pike. So we'll have more along with Cindy Brown and Big Dave Watson. I'm Lakeena McGee, Second City Sports, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to our second half of the weekend edition of Second City Sports Zoom Style.
Zoom Style.
Along with Lakeena McGee, which is she. I am Cindy Brown, which is me. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter and the IG at CK80. Once again, that's CK80. That's SIDKID80. That's SIDKID80.
You can follow me at Keena McGee on the Twitter and at Keena_McGee on the IG.
And our special guest joining us today for the remainder of the show is Big Dave Watts on BAWL On Bulls podcast. And let's welcome back to the show. Big Dave, how's it going? You ready for another ride?
Man, I'm ready for this, man. Thank y'all for having me and hanging out with me, man. This is going to be fun, bro. Let's do this.
It is.
Where can people find you on social media?
So thanks for saying that, because I sure wanted to say it how y'all saying it. You can find me on the Twitter. You can find me at Ball Sports, BAWL Sports. And you can find my boy Chris, who also is on there at BAWL Sports 1. Check out our podcast. We're everywhere you listen to podcasts. And we're also on Instagram at Ball Sports. And like and subscribe to our YouTube page where you can check out our podcast and our Bulls Outcast show.
It's a lot of fun, you know. Look, you know, they're all three of them are great guys. You know, we gotta get John on. We gotta get John on at some point too. You know, he'll probably talk Luka for like the next 2 hours, but that's okay.
Dude, 3.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's his baby boy. He loves Luka, man. He's a great player.
Yes, he is great though. Okay, let's go to the college hardwood for a second, you guys. You got Sweet 16 action starting today. And get the Midwest and the South region. That Midwest region where Illinois was, you know, is totally wide open. First game up, you got Oregon State and Loyola. I know. We'll get your quick thoughts on Illinois, Dave. I know, like all of us, you were upset when they were eliminated by Loyola.
You know what's funny? Like, I didn't feel anything, but it was just more like, come on. Like, it wasn't that they lost. It was the way they lost.
Yeah.
Like, they just got beat up. You know what I'm saying? Like, plain and simple. They got beat up. And I know Loyola is very good. I have an older brother who's a huge college basketball fan. And that's all he kept saying to me was, man, don't sleep on Loyola. Like, they're serious. Like, they're really good. And I'm like, yeah, well, you know, Illinois, come on. We never won ranked. You know what I'm saying? Illinois got the player of the year guys on here. You know, it should be a tough game, but I expect them to pull it out. I expected to see that. They didn't lead the entire game. They didn't have one lead. I mean, they just got beat up and outclassed. You know what I'm saying? And that's what was most like, wow. And eye-opening. You know what I'm saying? And much love to Loyola. You know what I'm saying? Representing and doing their thing. But, yeah, man, I expected more from Illinois, you know, simply being a number 1 seed. I expected more. I wanted to see better from them. And Frazier was just completely off. And yeah, it was a tough game for them, man. And yeah, they went out bad. They went out bad.
And like I said, that whole Midwest region is wide open. You know, Oregon State, you know, basically they had to win the Pac-12 to get to the tournament. Now they're in the Sweet 16. Gary Tickle, who is a Franklin Park guy, you know, has done a great job, right? Yeah, I mean, has done a great job. So where you guys see this game, 2 completely different styles. It's going to be one of those like first to 50, I guess.
I see Loyola trying to pull out the same game plan they did against Illinois last Sunday afternoon. Press against the point guards for 40 minutes. Their perimeter defense, as we talked about Lakeena on our last episode, it was tremendous. Ayo Dosunmu didn't have a chance to do his thing as far as penetrating into them. He only did a couple times. That was it. The outside shooting for Illinois struggled. And the Illini did not show up. They were clearly outcoached by Porter Moser, Brett Underwood. That loss was on him. Loyola came prepared for 40 minutes, and that's exactly what they did. I expect them to do the same thing against the Oregon State team. Like you said, Lakeena, it's going to be tough, but I expect Loyola to win. I expect another big game from Cameron Krutwig, who, let's be honest, he outplayed Kofi Coburn last weekend.
Yes, he did. Like, Cameron was serious, my man, with the drunk mustache, as I call it. Like, that's like, he's serious about that. But yeah, I definitely am with Loyola. Like, of what I saw, like, how can you not be a believer after what you saw and what you witnessed? How can you not roll with that? And just being from the city, you know, of course you're going to roll with the Chicago team in general, but it's not blind faith. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's logic, and you can see how good they are on both ends of the floor. And it's like they're running, you know, NBA style offense, you know what I'm saying, out there. Like, and that's what's really interesting. And they do it so rapidly, and everybody knows exactly where they need to be. And there's no room for error on their team. Like, there's just no room. Like, everybody knows exactly what's going on, and it's structured beautifully. So shout out to them for being as good as they are. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I got Loyola. I'm rolling with Loyola all the way.
Yeah, but don't sleep on Oregon State, though. I mean, they can make you play their style, and, you know, they'll give you hissy fits, too. So, you know, don't sleep on them. But, you know, that should be a good one. It should be a good one here in the South region. You got the number one seed there, Baylor, against number 5 seed, Villanova. Look, I didn't think Villanova – look, I thought I had Villanova losing the first round. I want to apologize to Jay Wright and his guys. I'm so sorry, but this should be a very this should be a very entertaining matchup with Baylor. I can't wait for this one.
Does the clock strike? Will the clock strike midnight for Villanova? Lakeena, I know they're without their best assist guy, but Baylor. I did watch them a couple of times this year. They are a good team. I just don't know. Even though Illinois is the only number 1 seed at this point to be knocked out of the tournament, part of me still doesn't trust Baylor for some reason. I just don't see it. Maybe, like I said, maybe they'll pull this game out late, but I'm gonna go with the slight upset with Villanova.
I'm actually gonna roll with Sid on this, and again, take it for what it's worth, because I don't watch college basketball a lot at all, but I did see Baylor play when they played Illinois, and I watched them, and I was like, okay, this is a good team, but this isn't a world-beating team. They didn't seem that way. They were very fast. I like the way they ran their offense. They're very fast. Like, I remember that about them. But it didn't look. They didn't intimidate me, and they didn't scare me. And that's why I'm like, no, they can be beat. It wasn't like watching like when I saw Gonzaga, who I'm sure you'll get into, but it wasn't like that. And I was just like, yeah, they're okay, but they can be beat. I can see them going down. You know what I'm saying? Playing always. That's the beauty of the tournament. Playing these other teams, like Villanova and Loyola and those guys like that, who this is it for them. Like, this is their this is it for them. They take it very seriously. So I'm all about upsets. So I'm gonna go with the upset on this one, man, with Villanova. But Lakeena, you're probably right. Trust me.
Look, I would be surprised. Villanova is actually pretty good. So I would be surprised if they do. Now, speaking of upsets, will the clock struck midnight on Oral Roberts? They face a very good Arkansas team. So what do you guys see with this?
I like the storylines for this one, Lakeena. Shout out to Oral Roberts for doing that thing, but I think it's going to come to an end. I did see Arkansas play twice this year. They are a very good team, a very underrated conference as far as basketball is concerned. So I'm going with Arkansas.
Yeah, I know I just said I like underdogs, but yeah, it's a wrap. It's a wrap, dog. Like, seriously, like, the clock is definitely going to strike midnight. It's a great story. Appreciate you getting the Sweet 16. Nobody had y'all doing anything at all. So the fact they got there, is awesome. But yeah, Arkansas.
All right, the nightcapper in the Midwest region. You got number 11 Syracuse and Houston, and I can tell you right now, Houston will not be surprised by a 2-3 zone like SDSU was, that San Diego State was. I had them going far. Thanks a lot, San Diego State. But I think that the Houston they want to exercise those tournament demons. I think they're gonna pull it out. It'll be close, but I think they'll pull it out. Where do you guys see it?
I'm going with Houston. I told you, Lakeena, when we did our tournament preview show, watch out for number 2 Houston in that bracket. I did watch them both games against the Memphis team. Shout out Penny Hardaway. Hoping that team will get in the tournament next year. But Houston's a very underrated team, but they're a good team, so I expect them to pull this one out.
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with both you guys on this one. Because again, I don't watch a lot of Houston or who are they playing?
Syracuse,
yes. I don't watch either one of those teams a lot, but the team that I know, again, and I lean on people who know much more than me, and that's how I get through life. And listening to my brother and listening to you guys talk about Houston and just how good they are, I'm just going to roll with y'all on that one.
All right, let's go to tomorrow's matchup, Sunday's matchups. You got, this is the West and the East region. You got number 1 overall seed Gonzaga against Creighton. Do you guys think Creighton can pull off the upset?
Yeah.
I will say no. They may make it interesting for a while, but I think Gonzaga's a better team, so they shouldn't have too much of a problem.
Yeah, agreed. Creighton doesn't put any fear in me at all. Gonzaga, man, like just from the start of the season to where they are now, it's just been a complete, just like, we're better than all y'all. Like, that's how I look at them every time they come into the game. They're like, we're better than y'all, period. And I don't care what happens, we're winning. And that's how it feels when I watch them. And yeah, that's awesome that they play that way and they're that good. And I wanted to see them in Illinois match up, you know what I'm saying, just to see what it looked like. And Illinois stole that from me, and I don't appreciate it. But Gonzaga, man, they're a serious team, man. And I don't see anybody honestly stopping this team.
All right, second, going to the East region this time. We got the number 1 seed there, Michigan, going up against Florida State. Should be a really good one here.
Mm-hmm.
I expect this one to come down to the wire. Shout out Juwan Howard, Chicago's very own. I'm cheering for Michigan. After Loyola. Florida State, as we talked about, Lakeena, they're a very good team coming out of the ACC. Of course, we know with Patrick Williams being a rookie with the Chicago Bulls.
Right.
Leonard Hamilton, the head coach, has been doing a fine job.
Yes.
I want to see if Michigan will continue to get the ball inside to Dickinson. And I want to see if they can have some type of consistent outside shooting. If Michigan can do those two things, I think they'll come away with the win in this ball game. I expect it to be close. I think Michigan can pull it out at the end. I would not be surprised if Florida State won, but I think Michigan is slightly the better team. So I'm going with the Wolverines on this one.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like, I'm definitely riding for Michigan because of Juwan Howard, because I want them to I honestly selfishly want them to get to the Final Four, because I just want to see if all of the Fab Five shows up. I really want to see it. So that's what I'm kind of rooting for and hoping for. I'm really hoping that happens. But, Michigan lost one of their best players before the tournament started. So a lot of people weren't thinking they were going to be, even here in the Sweet 16. But not just are they here, they're the only remaining Big Ten team in the tournament, man, which is wild. That's crazy. But, yeah, I'm going to definitely roll with Michigan. Like you said, Florida State is no joke. They're always good. Every single year, they are an actual straight-up problem. So, but, yeah, it's not going to be easy. But, yeah, I'm definitely going to roll with Michigan on this.
Put the damn banners back up at Chrysler Arena.
Put
come on
now.
Put them banners back. It's the reason we like college basketball. Come on, man.
My gosh. Look, they got new people there, so they're actually letting them back, letting them come visit, which is great. But put the banners back up. Come on.
Stop playing.
Yes.
All right. So the battle of I wouldn't say football schools, because UCLA hasn't been very good in football lately, but this should be a good one regardless. So you got UCLA and Alabama. Mick Cronin and Nails have done a great job with their respective programs. This one should be a whole lot of fun. Yeah. Where do you guys see this game?
You're talking about Alabama, once again, a football school, but they were very good this year in basketball. Another surprise team coming out of a traditional football conference. UCLA, they're another underrated Cinderella as well. We talked about this in our last episode, looking about the Pac-12 being better than the Big Ten, hanging in the tournament with only 3 teams left in the field. But Alabama, they have a little bit more of a scoring punch than UCLA does. So it might be sort of a kind of a track meet, but I expect the Razorbacks to pull this one out.
I'm going to agree with you, but my reasoning is different. One is because the name of our show, BAWL, is really an homage to Avery Johnson because of the way he talks and the way he speaks, and because that's what we used to make
fun of me. Exactly, right?
Dude, we used to make fun of it all day long. We used to poke fun, like, get the ball to Darren Williams, pass the ball. So we used to do that all day long. So the fact that he coached Alabama, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just like I'm rolling with Alabama for that reason. And UCLA always is just never really impressed me every year. It's been a while since I've just been really impressed with UCLA. I'm always thinking, you know what? They can be beat. Like, they're going to go out. Like, they'll get 2 rounds, Sweet 16. And then, so I would be honestly surprised if they won this game. Because, like you said, it would really attract me. Like, you're absolutely right. But Alabama can score, man. Like, they can score, man. So, yeah. And in the tournament, it always comes down to what? Scoring and free throw shooting. Right. That's really what it comes down to. So, I'm going to go with the team that actually does it, pretty well.
Well, speaking of scoring, in the Pac-12, the 2 of the 4 teams that are still left should be a good one to hear an all Pac-12 matchup in the nightcap. We got Oregon and USC. So both of them can score. I mean, look, you saw what Oregon did to Iowa, and the Mobley brothers basically by themselves just hammered Kansas earlier this week. So where do you guys see this game? This is definitely going to be one of those toss-up games.
I'm going with USC in an upset. Like you said, the Mobley brothers have been doing their thing all season, including this tournament. I know most of the country hasn't gotten a chance to see them, of course, until Lakeena mentioned their last game against Kansas. Oregon is sneaky good, but they're not the Oregon teams that they were a few years ago. And maybe that's okay to them, but they're here for a reason. But I'm going to go with the Mobley brothers with the Trojans. I'm looking for USC to pull at least one more game out and make it to the Elite Eight.
like you said, this was a tough one, man. Like I could honestly go either way on this one.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say Oregon. Even though, like you said, like this is a different kind of Oregon team. Like I'm not used to Oregon kind of being this style of play. Of just over the years, they've been, just a little different, with their style.
Yeah. Right.
And it's not the same, which is not a diss, you know what I mean? Because obviously it's working. You know what I'm saying? For them, it's working pretty well because they're far in the tournament. But I'm gonna go with them because this is a gut pick. This has nothing to do with intelligent basketball acumen like you guys have. This is just straight gut pick. I'm gonna go with Oregon on this. But yeah, I don't see USC I don't see them not, you know what I'm saying, being able to contend with this team because they're very good, but my gut says Oregon, so that's just what I'm gonna go with.
Definitely a toss-up regardless. So I hate to bring down the mood considering that I have two White Sox fan friends here, but I mean, gosh, I was afraid this was gonna happen. This happened on Thursday.
Yeah.
Eloy crashed, in one of their spring training game. He crashed, and apparently he has a torn pec muscle. He's going to be gone for, about 5 to 6 months?
Yeah.
I've been saying, I've been saying this, I said it, last season. I've been saying it. He should not be in the outfield. Hopefully Tony La Russa, once Eloy does come back, I'm sure he'll take that advice to heart now. But I'll start with you, Dave. What do you got? I'm sure, I know you were, like Sid, all the White Sox fans were just gutted by that news. Do you think this sets back the White Sox?
Wow, that's a good question. I'm gonna say no. But honestly, when I heard the news, I was on such a Bulls high that it didn't slap me as hard. So I was like, okay. And because we all saw the replay, and honestly, I felt it was an unnecessary injury. Because the ball was gone, like it was out of there. He kind of did the Vince Carter, you know what I'm saying, like getting his arm kind of stuck in the rim, kind of thing. And you could tell when he came down, he was just, thought it was business as usual, and he was like, "Oh, my arm isn't supposed to feel like this. I need to take a seat." So yeah, it was the worst case scenario. It's very sad, but the reason I don't think it sets us back, because the one thing the White Sox have is depth, and that's why I'm not really truly concerned about it. Of course, we're gonna miss 30 home runs and 90-something RBIs. Obviously, we're gonna miss that, but I get to put guys out in the outfield who might be better out there. You know what I'm saying, than him. And the one thing we don't lack is sticks. Like, we got hitters. Like, we got plenty of those, man. So it just honestly gets these younger guys who we might have been dying to see come up, actually get that shot, actually get that chance, you know what I'm saying, to play. And it also, I think, kind of puts Eloy in that role that I'm sure everybody's been crying for, which is DH. Like,
I've been saying that for the last year.
Dude, we've been screaming. We all see it, and for him to get injured this way, that has nothing to do with you batting at all, has everything to do with you fielding. I'm like, I think that's the end of the experiment. Honestly, I'm like, okay, fine. You just kind of jeopardized a title, run, you know what I'm saying, with this injury by doing something like that. So let's go ahead and put you where we know that you'll be awesome at, which is DH, and do it like that. And maybe, we can bring you in, on a couple games, playing that outfield. But yes, that's why I'm not that concerned about it, is because of the depth of the team and just how good they are on everywhere. They're just good everywhere. So if it was, if we didn't have that depth, then I would be concerned. But knowing the sticks that we have and the talent we have, I think they'll still be fine.
It'll be a cause for concern to start the season because backup outfielder Adam Engel, who was supposed to share time in right field with Adam Eaton, who was acquired via trade this offseason, he's going to be out 2 to 4 weeks. But once Engel get back in the lineup, he's going to be fine. He's the best defensive outfielder next to Luis Robert, or La Pantera, as many people call him, on via Twitter.
Yeah.
But I think Tony La Russa, at least to start the year,
He freeze up?
I think he froze again. Yeah, I mean,
He was about to make an excellent point. You can see it. You
know.
can see it. It was
I
coming.
know. He was coming. It was.
Man.
I know.
That boy was coming.
I know. Look, hopefully we'll get him back on. But look, Andrew Vaughn. I think he'll definitely be seeing a lot of him. Yeah. And look, he actually play outfield. So I'm sure he'll seize the opportunity. And I hope Eloy can come back, and hopefully Vaughn can hold down the fort while he's gone. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing what Vaughn can do, because I think it's not going to be a lot of pressure on him because of the fact that there is a lot of depth there, like you guys said. So I'm not worried too much about it.
And also, there was the issue was also at catcher, because they were only going to carry 2 catchers, and they got 3 legitimate good ones. And now that kind of clears up that space. If somebody wants to come in and steal some time at DH or do something like that, like, you have options now, is what I'm saying. If Berger wants to come in and do that, he can. Madrigal, however you want to do him, you can move him around in the lineup also. Like, it doesn't, free is the wrong word, because it doesn't giving you freedom. It's not what it's doing. It's not giving you freedom because you're losing the stick, but it gives you, the fact you have so many options to choose from that you can play around with stuff a little bit. And Tony La Russa is just smart. Like, he's just a brilliant manager. The pedigree. So I think they'll be okay and be able to hold it down. At least till he can maybe come back in, September or hopefully August or something like that.
Do you think it's World Series or bust for the White Sox?
I hope that's their mentality. I'll say that. It's not that for me. I'm more thinking long-term dominance than I'm thinking World Series or bust. I'm thinking kind of like the Dodgers, like that. Like how the Dodgers every year, it felt like World Series or bust for them. And they would get, and they would lose, or they'll, get to the playoffs and didn't play well, or they'll get there and then they'll choke in the World Series until they finally won one. But if you look back on all of what they were doing, it was just a long string of dominance because they were going there and they were winning. I like models like the Atlanta Braves back in the day. Like, I think of those kind of things. And that's what I want. I want sustained awesomeness for a long period of time. I don't want take off and come back down, because that's what it was, kind of for the White Sox in 2005 when we won. It was like, fine, we're good. Like, I'm good for the next 10 years. Yeah. I was like, okay, I don't want that. I just want to be good for the next 10 years. And titles will come when you're just good, you know what I'm saying, for the next, 10 years or so, like that. So I'm kind of looking at it in that sense. But I hope that's their mindset, because that should be the mindset of every player on the team. We win in the World Series or this season sucks.
All right, hopefully we get Save back on with us here. Listen to Second City Sports Zoom style, along with Big Dave Watson. I'm Lakeena McGee. Let's go to the gridiron for a second. The Bears made a pretty good signing, I think. You got veteran running back Damian Williams, formerly of the Chiefs. Shore of that backfield. And look, I think that's something that they really needed because of the fact that they didn't have a lot of depth there the last couple of years. So what do you think about that signing?
I mean, yeah. Cool. Right? David Williams is good, fine. That's all right. Like, yeah, great. But also, Lakeena, he has to come in, he has to compete with the greatness of Ryan Nall now. So we have to see, what that's going to look like, because, Ryan Nall is poised for, just a breakout season. And yeah, I'm all in, all in for that. And so we'll see. We'll see if he's able to overcome, one of the greatest running backs in Chicago Bears history in Ryan Nall.
Yeah, look, Cordell Patterson, who we love, but he is not a running back. We've said this from, all last season.
Man, yes.
I mean, come on, but, you got a legitimate running back. But then again, he's had injury issues, Williams had. So, look, you short up that backfield. So that's basically all you can do for that.
And it's not like he's going to be the every down guy. Like, obviously, he's going to be the third down back, give you some speed out of that backfield, with his, ability to catch the ball, give me Andy Dalton a little, extra weapon back there. So I'm sure that's how they're going to use him, in his familiarity with Matt Nagy, which is why I'm sure he's probably here and things like that. So, yeah, I'm sure that's going to help, obviously, with the third down running back and things like that. So, yeah, it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt having his talent. But let's just see, like you said, if he can stay healthy. We'll see if that's the case.
Okay, some big trade came down, the Pike.
Yeah, I didn't hear this. That's why I got excited when you said. I was like, it's a trade that happened. I have no idea what happened. What happened?
This happened about an hour ago. The Dolphins traded their number 3 pick to the 49ers for their number 12, a 2021 third-round pick, which is, the comp pick for, new coach Robert Saleh, and first-round picks in 2022 and 2023.
Wow.
So that I'm thinking, I'm guessing John Lynch, Hall of Famer now, John Lynch, and the Niners brass are thinking quarterback, I guess. But
wow.
We'll see. Yeah, that is a lot, right? I mean,
that's a lot.
It is but you know what though? I mean, look, I'm sure Lynch has been around the league forever, so you gotta think that he might have something in his sleeve. Maybe he's thinking Justin Fields or Zach Wilson, who's having his pro day over at BYU as we speak. So
yeah.
I mean,
it's gonna be. It makes me honestly, when I see stuff like this, I always think of the Bears. Like, can't y'all pull something like this off? Like, they just gave you everything for this. Like, but honestly, the Bears probably didn't have I don't know what they're were looking at or thinking. With that team. But yeah, that's a good move. I mean, you don't hesitate on the guy that you want. You don't do that. If it's a guy that you're like, this is the one, this is how we should do it, you do everything you can to get it, and you can't second guess yourself. And that's exactly what's going. That's exactly what this trade signals. We know what we want at 3. You don't move up to 3 just to take that position. You move up because you know who you want. So, yeah, obviously they know who they want. They're willing to mortgage, their draft future on it, man. So that's a big step. It's a big, big step, and that's all they got with the 3rd pick. Like, no 6th round pick with it. Nothing.
No, 2 first rounders, and they swap picks, and of course they get the extra pick from Saleh, being named the coach. So yeah.
Wow, interesting. That should be interesting. Okay, yeah, like I said, I'm all for people who know what they want and making their decisions and standing on it and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll see, man. But obviously, like you said, it signals quarterback. Like, and Garoppolo should be concerned. He should be a little concerned.
I mean, I'm interested to see what the Bears are going to do should they stay at 20, because it's easy to say that maybe I know Lance is somebody that they coveted. They were at Mac Jones's pro day over in Alabama. I know. It's just it would be so Bears though, right, for them to pick Jones. So what do you think they do at 20?
I think they take Jones. That's what I think. I think they take Mac Jones, and they do what the Bears do. Like, what have they shown me to say they would be anything different or do anything different and bring in somebody who I'm like, yeah, everybody's like, you know what? This dude is awesome. Instead of just some guy who's like, you know what? I think he's tough. I think he's gritty. He can get out there and complete some passes and maybe run about 3 yards and fall down. Like, what if they haven't shown me anything to put my faith in them to think that they would come away with a right quarterback? You know what I'm saying? And that's in that instance that everybody wants, or make those kind of moves that I would like for them to make. So, yeah, I think they take Mac Jones because he's a Bear quarterback. Like, everything about him is a Bear quarterback. From his name on down, everything about this man is a Chicago Bear quarterback.
What do you think about the Bears' off-season moves? I mean, of course, they got they got rid of Kyle Fuller. They get rid of a couple other guys. So Robinson Harris is now in Jacksonville. So I mean, again, this is so Bears, but I just wanted to hear your reaction, because I just love your reaction, because you always try to put a positive spin, even though we all agree that it's just a bunch of BS.
I try to, Lakeena, because my positivity is always steeped in logic, and there's no logic here. What they are doing is just ridiculous, and it's insulting to the fan base. And I was saying this last year when I was going on podcasts and talking about the Bears on the Bear Essentials podcast. Shout out to those guys.
Yes.
When I would go on there, and I would just, plead with fans and tell them, the Bears don't deserve your meathead fandom. They've done nothing to earn it. They've done nothing to deserve you driving 4 hours at 6 o'clock in the morning to get to the game and tailgate and pay all that money for ticket and do all those things that you're doing just to give you this product and insult you. Like, you go after Russell Wilson, you say you offer them basically 2 starters, who was basically Kyle Fuller and Akeem Hicks, and you offer them 2 or 3 first round picks, or however many they offered them. And you're like, when they say no, you're like, okay. And that's not even your best offer. because it's insulting. You offer them guys that you knew you were getting rid of. And you offer them guys that I'm sure the league knew that you were trying to trade Akeem Hicks. And they knew the contract situation. So they knew you were going to have to get rid of Kyle Fuller. So you offered them not your best. You offered them your best adjacent. You offered them some scraps. You know what I'm saying? You didn't say Khalil Mack. You didn't even start the convo with that. And I'm like, was this your 25th offer? You know, like, was this your 50th offer? Like, if you really want somebody, you're going to go get that. Like, and that goes for anything in life. Like, if you really want that thing and you want that person, however, or you want that job, you're going to do whatever it takes to go get it. It doesn't feel like they did whatever it takes to go get it. It seems like they had a plan. We'll offer you this. You don't want it. Fine. You know, we'll move on. We're going to go get Andy Dalton and move on with that. And it just, every time this was happening, Lakeena, when they were talking about getting Russell Wilson and the hype around it, I had no belief, like, at all. I'm like,
yeah, right?
I know history. I'm a history person. Like, I know the history of this team. Nothing about them says that. Everything about Andy Dalton said Bear quarterback. Everything about him said, yep, he's coming to the Chicago Bears. This is what he's going to do. It's Andy Dalton. So, yeah, I think the moves have been terrible. I think they've been insulting. And
right.
I don't think Bears fans should be giving these dudes any kind of love. I think they should honestly just stop going to some of these games. Stop giving them your money, because when you affect the bottom line, that's when change really happens. And you got to start affecting the bottom line on this team, man, because it's insulting. Honestly, it's insulting and it's depressing. It's the first year I've ever considered not watching the Bears, like, in my life. I considered it. I'm like, man, I do want to watch this team. Like, why would I put myself continually through this abuse? Like, it doesn't make sense to do that. So, yeah, I haven't liked none of the moves, Lakeena, to answer your question. You know, I haven't liked none of the moves they've done. They've been typical, and yeah, they stink, and it's upsetting.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think, like you said, Dave, I mean, I'm just like flabbergasted by all these moves, right? I mean, like I said, it's so Bears. You just got to sit back and laugh at this point. That's the only thing you can do. I mean, God, I mean, you know, they get Andy Dalton. They actually, they actually had the nerve, the Bears social media team, who, you know, shout out to them. They're actually one of the better social media teams in the NFL. But they actually put down QB1 with a Photoshop picture of Andy Dalton, you know, in a Bears jersey. Really, you're going to do that? Really, just knowing that how your fan base feels about, you know, this Dalton signing, like, really? Come on.
Abuse. That's abuse, Lakeena. That is straight up and down abuse. And it's offensive, man. Like, it's one thing to just be bad. It's another thing to be insulting. And that's what bothers me the most about all of it. It just feels like you're being insulted, and they're insulting your intelligence. Like, Bears fans are incredibly smart. You're brilliant, Lakeena. Like, people know, people know these things. You know what you're talking about. You know what you're seeing. And when they sit there and try to tell you that the color, like the pen is blue, and you know it's red, and they're like, no, it's not. That's just bleeding. Like, it's not. It's gonna turn blue at some time. Trust me. You know, just believe it. You know, when they sit there and continue to insult your intelligence, like, it's only so much I can take on that stuff, man. I'm like, look, y'all it's insulting. The fact that y'all even brought Ryan Pace back in is insulting. I hope Mr. Trubisky has one of the greatest seasons of all time. Like, I hope he balls out. I really do, man. You missed on that pick. You should be fired for that. Like, I thought you should have been fired for that. Like, you missed on the quarterback like that in an era when you were picking all these great quarterbacks during that draft, and you missed on them, on two of them. Like, you got to go. Like, you can't get the opportunity to pick the next quarterback. Like, you've done nothing to deserve that. So that's what's insulting. They don't care about us, and we should stop caring about them on some level, honestly.
From BAWL On Bulls and Hot Mike, and Hot Mike co-host Dave Watson, Big Dave Watson, joining us here on Second City Sports Zoom style. So, you know, tell everybody about the Bulls Outsiders, the Bulls Outcast, I should say, on Hot Mike. You know, for anybody that doesn't, that hasn't listened to it, tell everybody what's it about.
Oh man, well, it's three friends getting together who all are different, and that's the beauty of it. And the thing that bonds us is our love for the Chicago Bulls. It's expressed in different ways. Matt is fiery, Matt is passionate, and and he will let you know it when he don't like something. I'm more chill. I'm more optimistic, and I lead with love. That's just who I am. John is hilarious, and John is completely brilliant and smart. Like, he's more of the analytics guy, and but he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about doing the show so much. And I hope it comes across that, we all genuinely like each other, and we like being around each other, and we enjoy each other's company, and we enjoy talking Bulls, especially with all y'all out there. Like, it's just fun to sit there and talk with y'all. So when we were doing the show on NBC Sports Chicago, I think the greatest compliment we kept getting was, man, you guys didn't know each other before this? Like, it just feels like y'all known each other for years. And I never met either one of those guys until, we got that audition. Like, I didn't know who they were, hadn't spoken to them or nothing like that. So I think that just speaks to, how much we actually enjoy each other and how much we like hanging around each other, but also speaks to how much we love the Chicago Bulls, because nobody's a dummy and nobody's like meathead takes or anything like that. It's always something intelligent, and we always challenge each other. We're not just accepting things, it's always challenging each other. We're always arguing, we're always debating. And yeah, like, it's just so much fun to do. So I hope that comes across, that when we do it on Hot Mic, which is an app you can download and watch the fourth quarter, watch us talk the fourth quarter and the post game with us. And it's free. It's a free app. It don't cost you anything. Mm-hmm. You can definitely come hang out with us and chill with us and talk with cool people like Lakeena in the chat. And yeah, it's just fun to do. So yeah, you can see it there. You can see it on YouTube on our BAWL On Bulls page. You can definitely go there to see it. And there's a podcast. If you can't see it, there's a podcast after every single show. That's on the BAWL On Bulls feed. So anywhere you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple, whether it's Spotify, whether it's a podcast on your microwave, like, we're there. And you can check us out that way. So yeah, it's just fun to do, Lakeena. It really is. It's so much fun to talk to those guys. I love talking to them, man, and talking Bulls. And those are the first people I want to talk to when good stuff like this happens. Those are the people I want to discuss this with.
It's weird because, when we first met Matt last year, when we were still doing the show in studio, he was telling, he basically said the same thing, saying that, look, you guys have never met, but yet it seems like you guys have known each other for years.
Yeah.
And it comes across that way. And look, it's a great, I'm on it, a lot. Our buddy Gustavo's on it too. A lot of regulars. So guys, please check it out. And also too, BAWL On Bulls podcast. Tell us, is there any difference between those particular podcasts and the guys one you guys do on Hot Mic?
Yeah, definitely. Well, one, I do it with a different person. That's probably the biggest difference.
Besides that,
I do it with my guy Chris, aka C-Dub. But the other thing that's different about it is we wanted to make BAWL On Bulls kind of more of a, I guess, how can I put it? A place of comfort and a place of chill, but also a place where sports fans and people who don't like sports can come and listen and still be entertained. We don't script anything. We script nothing on our show. We don't script questions. We don't prep anybody. That's not what we do on BAWL On Bulls. We are straight just conversationalists, and it's very organic. And so when we have guests on, we genuinely want to know what these guests, think. And, we want to know what their background is. And we want to, we genuinely care about these things. So those are the questions we ask and, we come up with and come across. And of course we talk Bulls for sure. No question about that. And it's just fun, man. Like, it's just a lot of fun. Every year we do a tournament of trash. That's always Bulls related. Last year we did worst Jim Boylan quotes. Robert Ory, Luke Cornett's Robert Ory was the winner. It was probably the easiest one we done because it was easy to find those quotes and come up with like, he said all of this stuff. So so we'll have special guests on like Darnell Mayberry, Joe Cowley. Like we said, we just did a 2-parter with Joe Cowley. That was amazing. You should definitely check that out. Mark Kay, who's a great guy. C-Red Fred, who's the reason we even got into the Bulls podcast again was C-Red Fred, who's been a friend of mine for, I think almost a decade. Like, I've been tight with Fred. So he's very important and instrumental with that. But yeah, we just always have a lot of great guests on. Kendall Gill, Will Purdue, guys like that. And yeah, we got more guests coming up, more Bull stuff to talk, man.
Yep.
And yeah, we're just excited to keep moving forward. So yeah, we appreciate the people that subscribe and download and like our stuff. So we're always surprised people listen to what we're doing. So the fact people like it and enjoy it and want more of it always makes us feel good.
All right, so I've been trying to get Sid to come back on. Apparently it's not letting him come back on, but look,
I want him to be great.
I know, right? It's crazy. So, do you watch Unsung? Because we, Sid and I, sometimes we talk about some pop culture stuff.
Oh, come on now, yes.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? What are we talking? Let's get into it.
I mean, look, Morris Day. I mean, of course, that just aired, and
I have it recorded on my DVR.
You haven't watched it. Oh, okay. So yeah, so I'm. Like there was a lot of stuff some stuff that you'll know, and some stuff you may that you probably didn't know. But sure. I'll just say it like that. So what are like some of your let's get to know Dave a little bit. Sure. That your favorite sports memory. Even non-sports memory. Your favorite music. I know like the type of music you like to listen to. So let's get to know a little bit more about you.
Well, I'm all about music. Like music is my love. There's a poster of Common hanging up back there.
Yep.
Actually, which you can't see it, but there's a Beach Boys album over there also. Pet Sounds, which is one of my top 5 albums of all time. Is Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. So yeah, I'm a music fiend. Like that's sports and music are my loves. Like I love them, and it's neck and neck. like honestly, it really is. It's like chicken or the egg, like who came first? Like, I don't know. But they're both, I love art, anything involved with the arts, I'm with it, even the actual art, movies, I'm about all that stuff. Like, yeah, that's me for sure. But yeah, music, I'm just a fiend for. Like, it's what I do. It's what I love. And I just enjoy it, man. And yeah, like that's what it is for me, Lakeena. Like that's what I'm about. So when stuff like the verses comes up, like I get excited, about that because I get to watch the Isley Brothers versus Earth, Wind and Fire.
I know. Oh, SWV versus Escape. That's
Escape. Yeah.
Although
Man versus Redman.
Yes. Oh, that should be an interesting one too. Oh my gosh. Because
Lakeena, I think because I've been making this argument since December that the Isley Brothers are the greatest group of all time.
Yeah.
And I've been making this, and nobody has been able to rebut or refute. And I'm waiting on somebody to give me arguments
right.
about why I'm wrong. And I haven't heard ones because the only ones I've heard, obviously are the Beatles. The Beatles are the landmark. That's the one. That's the final boss right. that you got to take on right there. But I definitely have arguments as to why they're greater than the Beatles. And so I love having music debates. I love talking about it all the time. Like if you want to talk to me about it on Twitter, I'm all for it. You want to debate movies, Marvel movies, art house films, like we debate all the time. I love tea. You want to talk about tea? I love all that stuff. Like that's me. Like yeah, I got my hands in a lot of things, that involve with art concerned. So I love it all, man. So yeah, that's definitely me.
The fine arts are definitely like something that I think people don't really appreciate, and so it's unfortunate that the art programs and music programs are always the first ones to get cut when it comes to schools and budget. Yeah. But there's we've seen it. There's a lot of great musicians, great artists. So both contemporary and otherwise. So it's just amazing that now that you have social media and things like that, and Apple and Spotify to kind of showcase them, which is great.
Yeah, no, it's real good. And having even places like YouTube Music, which was, Google Play before.
Yeah.
But YouTube Music where I can like store, my music library because it's really ignorant how much music I have at home. It's really ridiculous. But it's good to just know that if something happens to the physical copy, I have it there. Or if you go listen to a song on Spotify or iTunes and it's not there, I'm like, I'm not worried. I have that album. Like, let me just go play it. I already got it. So it's good for those kind of feelings. But yeah, like my addiction is ridiculous in all forms. I mean, folk, rock, jazz, blues, hip hop. It doesn't matter. I'm really into all of it and all forms of it and all styles of it. Country, like I like listening to it all, and because I think you get something from everything. Like there's greatness everywhere. So yeah, and it's like those are like my books. Like when people read, they can be transported to different places and different dimensions and things like that. I'm like that with music. So that's how you travel and you find out places and how people speak and how they talk and it's so much you can learn just listening to a musician and listening to that stuff. So yeah, it's important. It's important.
Couple more minutes here with Big Dave Watson here on Second City Sports Zoom style. I'm Lakeena McGee. Now, Dave, what's your favorite sports memory?
Ooh, wow, that's a big one. Favorite sport. I don't think I have one in particular. But I definitely have several. I remember, the Bulls' third championship. I never saw the last minute or last minute 30 of it because my hands were in my face the entire time and I couldn't watch it. And I'm just hearing my family scream around me, and when Paxton hit that three, I didn't see it. And
okay, wow.
When he hit it, I just heard my mother and my brother go crazy. I was like, what happened? What happened? It was like, he hit a three. I was like, oh my God. Like, so that is that memory of it. Illinois, when they beat Arizona, when they came back, is one of my favorite sports memories. Because I just remember watching that and not giving up on it. Like, no, they can't go out like this. That's all I kept saying in my head. Right. This is impossible. They can't go out like this. It's still too close. And Dick Enberg was on the call, and just hearing him say "Oh my" a bunch of times during that game, it was great. That's my favorite college basketball game ever. Like, it's awesome. My favorite one ever is that Illinois game. I can watch that for that second half, just all the time. I love it so much. Like it's stuff like that. Like when the Blackhawks won their first championship, that was a big memory for me because I just remember being in my house surrounded by a bunch of people who didn't like hockey, but everybody understood what was happening. You know what I'm saying? And everybody understood the moment about what was going on. So that was big. When the White Sox won their first World Series, I was working there. I had a job there. I was working in the commissary, and so I got to go to every single game. Cool. So I got to go to, the playoffs and the World Series. I was there. Nice. So I saw it. I saw when Paul Konerko hit that grand slam. I was right there watching, and it felt like, man, I never felt an entire stadium shake. It was like an earthquake. It was insane, Lakeena. It was insane. Like it just shook, like, it vibrated. And when Pasetnik hit that home run, it was amazing. Like, so that's one of my favorite things that I've done, because I've always said the White Sox have never won without me. The ones I was involved. So now that I'm back involved, kind of, dealing with the Bulls, kind of direct correlation with the organization, kind of right. Like, now the White Sox starting to get good again. I'm like, see, I'm helping guys out, helping people out. So yeah, those kind of memories, a bunch of Cubs game memories I've had. The most recent one was when I went to the Wrigley Field when the Cubs played the White Sox, and I saw Eloy Jimenez hit that home run. Yeah, because I called it. Called it, and that's why it's the memory, because I called it when he came up to bat in the seventh. I told everybody around me, I was like, "Yo, he owe us. He's been bad. He owe us this right here. It's coming right here. Watch, it's coming right here." And he took it out, and I was just talking mad stuff after that. So, yeah, a lot of great sports memories, Lakeena. Honestly, a lot of great sports memories for me.
Oh my gosh! This is going really quick. It's been so much fun with you, doing this with you, Dave. Hopefully, we can do it again, because this is some great stuff. You can follow him on at BAWL Sports. It's BAWL Sports. At BAWL Big Dave. On Twitter, and where can people check out all your podcasts and stuff?
You can check it out on ballsports.com. BAWLsports.com, or anywhere you get podcasts. You can check us out there, and make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube page, the BAWL YouTube page. Definitely check us out over there, because that's where you get all your Bulls Outcast shows, and that's where you get special stuff that we do on BAWL, because it's not just BAWL on Bulls. We also do BAWL, which is also music centric over there. So we talk a lot of culture stuff on that show too. So yeah, we got a lot of podcasts, and we got a few more coming up too. So it's a lot going on. So stay tuned.
Yeah, so make sure you guys check him out. Check him, Matt, and John out on Hot Mic. For the Bulls Outcast. Of course, also on YouTube. In case you guys missed it. Also, it repeats on Hot Mic. So if you missed the live live shots, it's right there in the list, the playlist. Got a lot of them are there. If you want to relive some of the crazy things, Matt says, or the crazy things that John say, or, Matt still, Dave trying to get Matt to eat salmon burgers. all that's covered right there. So, check all that.
It's gonna happen.
Look, I'll pay. Look, let me know when it does, because I will pay. I will help pay to see that. All right, Dave, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much. We gotta do this again. Hopefully, Sid, has will have his issues, the connection issues fixed. So I don't know what's going on, but even still, though, this was a lot of fun. Thank you so much, and well, I'll talk to you actually tomorrow. Tomorrow, yes.
Tomorrow, for sure. Absolutely. Talk to you tomorrow. Lakeena, you already know you're awesome. You're great.
Oh, you guys are awesome.
You're super smart. And yeah, thanks for having us on, man. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. All right, so for Sydney Brown, you can follow me at Keenan McGee on the Twitter and at Keenan_McGee on the IG. You can follow the show on at War Media at WARR Media, where we got In the Scope with Josh Hicks and also many other shows, talking sports and pop culture and whatnot. So just make sure you guys check it out, on, YouTube, of course, like, share, and subscribe. Also on Anchor, Spotify, Google, wherever you get your podcasts, tune in, whatever, it's all there. So for Dave and Sid, I'm Lakeena. This has been Second City Sports Zoom style, and we'll see you next week.